नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अतः शान्तिमन्त्रम्। ॐ भद्रम् कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रम् पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितम् यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्वदेवाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Binduji, sorry for interrupting. You
Yep.
need to make me a mod because I can't adjust any of the other features.
Okay. Sorry for that. Right. Okay. So in the last session, we had a very, what we call it as mind-blowing or mind-opening session, where a lot of things which we normally do not look in that direction was opened up by this Upanishad to see how things are functioning in the body. This third question is also about prana, and it is a prana upasana kanta. Even though there are brain teasers in the form of answers given by Guru Pripalada, we need to take them with very clear understanding that this statements all by Pripalada is for understanding the prana, which is the shadow of the Atma, and how it is now functioning through the body as fivefold prana, apana, vyana, samana, udana. So each of them having specific functions, and extension of them in the 17 arches, which is the sense organs, the organs of action, mind and intellect, and this Pancha Prana or the five pranas. The Mukhya Prana or the main prana is also in charge of the mind and eyes, nostrils and tongue. Even though they have their respective gods, presiding deities for their operation, for example, mind, the Chandrama or the moon is considered to be the presiding deity. That doesn't change the control of prana of the mind. Same way for the eyes, it is the sun, and like that. So the question from the student was, what is the connection between the microcosm, the inner body operation of the prana, with the prana, which is the prana and the rai, which is the first born from Prajapati as the sun and the moon later. So the prana and rai, or the prana in the body, what are their relationship? This was one of the question, the fifth question by the student. So having explained the five pranas, and one thing which I left out in the last class, which was brought out by Prasad, and it is there in the Shankara Bhashya also, he is referring to Udana leaving the body through a upward going nerve which is called Sushumna. But he doesn't talk about any Kundalini in his Bhashya. So this is to be understood that he is referring to a nerve which is connecting the heart and the brain. That is what is called the Sushumna as per the Upanishad. The reason being that the 72 nerves are starting in the heart region, spreading all over the body. 7200 and like that it is going. So it is very clear it is from the heart center, that one which is going Urdhvam is the one which is referred as Sushumna by Shankaracharya in his Bhashya. Coming back to the fifth question, what is the connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm, or what is the connection between the prana in the body and the prana and the rai in the creation? So for that, the eighth mantra, sorry Patrick, say it is the eighth mantra which I have to take, not the ninth one. The eighth mantra is Adityo havai bahya pranaha udayati eshaha hyenam chakshusham pranam anugrinnanaha pritivyam ya devata sa esha purushasya apanam avashtabhya andara yad akashaha saha samanaha vayurvyanaha. Now I'll split the words and tell the meaning. Adityaha means the sun. Havai means verily or indeed. Bahiha is the one which is external. Pranaha, he, eshaha, enam. That is prana, indeed is this, it, which is inside, in the andaram. Chakshusham, in the eye. Pranam anugrinnanaha, having graced by the prana, udayati. So when the sun is rising in the sky, the eyes are also rising in due to the prana effect to see the sunlight, the rashmi, the marichin, or the rashmi, or the rays of the sun, which is not only seeing the sun, the rising sun, but all lit by the rising sun, is being seen because there is a connection between the sun, which is born out of prana, with which is the born out of the prana, which is the mukhya prana in the Prajapati's production, in the creation. In the mind reflection or mind chaya prana, which is now connected with the mind and the eyes, nostril and the tongue, is the one which is connecting the eyes. And therefore the eyes are able to see everything in the light of the sunlight. That is the connection between the sun and the eyes. Pritivyam ya devata. That means that God which is there in the earth. Sa esha purushasya apanaha avashtabhya. That is that what is connecting between the earth and the edge of the space is apana. No, that is between yats vayu samanaha. Up to akasha is samanaha. This apana is purushasya, sa esha purushasya apanaha avashtabhya. That is that prana which is there in this purusha, in the human being, in the form of apana, having control. Anugraham kurvanti vartate, exists thus favoring the gravity, the pull of the gravity of the the earth which is there in the outside, on the earth, Prithivyam, on the earth. Similar is the apana in the Purushasya, in the human being, which is drawing the air inside. Prana apana, which is the apana, is the one which is holding the air inside due to the pressure. And prana is the one which is being taken inside. And apana is the one which is now being thrown out after having absorbed in the body. So this gravitational aspect is in the apana, not in the prana. Andara, what is there between the earth and the edge of the sky, akashaha, that is called akashaha. That is what is the counterpart of samana in the outer world, and in the body that is occupying the space inside the stomach, which is the equivalent to the space inside the body. It is only roughly an idea, but there is space inside the heart, there is space inside the chest, there is space inside the lungs. But the entire space which is there inside the body is samanaha, and that counterpart of that in the world is what is connected between the earth and the sky. Then Vayu is Vyanaha. The outer world, there is air which is moving. Same way, Vyana is the one which is moving through the body, which is carrying the vital things in the oxygen into the every part of the body. This is how the connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm has been explained in this shloka. Tejo havai va udanaha tasmat upashanta tejaha punarbavan indriyair manasi sambadhyamanaihi. Tejaha means the fire. Havai, indeed or verily, udanaha. The fire is the heat in the body, and the fire is the heat and the sun. Therefore, the connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm is through the udana, which is connection between the heat in the human body or the animal body and the fire in the sun. Tasmat upashanda tejaha. That fire which is extinguished, manasi sambadhyamanehi. When the heat is diminished in the body, that is being withdrawn into the mind. Manasi sambadhyamanehi, indriyaihi, along with the indriyas. Punarbhavam is what is going for the rebirth. So, the connection, the udana is traveling from the heart area, manasi area, manas, the heart area, through the brain for the exiting the life. That is, the heat is left out of the body. That means heat, the body. Prana is now become the udana, as in the form of the heat of the body, and is merging in the heart. And upashandamana means having, that it is no more giving the heat to the body, and it is also controlled at the mind level along with the indriyas or the sense organs. And now there is a composite order, that is prana, which is in the form of udana, the mind, and the fire, which is now in the form of udana itself again, which is traveling upward along with the sense organs. So this fire is verily the udana for the rebirth, along with the senses absorbed in the mind. This is how the rebirth part of this is the place where the rebirth is being referred in the Upanishad very clearly. Now, how does it go? Yesha, yat chitta tena esha pranam ayati pranaha tejasa yuktaha saha atmana yada sankalpidam lokam nayanti. Now, this is a very important aspect. Yesha, this man, maranakale, at the time of death, yad chittaha, whatever is his here in the chitta, that becomes what is his direction for the travel. Tena, with that chitta, pranam, this chief prana or mukhya prana, ayati, it comes along with the Atman and the shadow. They come now, and this Udana, along with the Tejasa, along with the fire of the body, Yuktaha, is being united with the Atman, the Prana, the Udana, the mind, the Indriyas, and the Sankalpa or the Yat Chitta. What here is we have to understand is that we have tendencies in our mind based on which our actions are directed. All our actions are directed by our tendencies. A good person will be driven for doing good action. A bad person will be driven for doing bad action. Like that, we all have tendencies. Now, invariably what happens is that at the time of death, the last thought will naturally reflect what is our tendency. And this tendency is in the chitta. So, Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chitta, normally Chitta is the place for vasanas and memories. So, vasana is the tendencies. So, that is the why it is called Yat Chittaha here. Not exactly the Chitta vasanas. That vasanas definitely play a role, but not memories. And that will be the one which is deciding the last desire of the individual, whether it's animal or human being. And that Atmana Yuktaha, Yada Sankalpidam Lokam Nayati. Now what the Upanishad says is that the last desire is the address to which we will be taken by the Udana along with Prana. Prana cannot come because Atma, unless Atma comes, Jivatma comes. So it is in the form of Jivatma here, not as what you call Brahman, even though that is Brahman only. But here for the purpose, because we are talking about creation and the individual. So we have to take about the individuality level. So that individual Atma, along with the shadow Prana and Udana, which is the fire, that is the one which is now holding the address, because it is in the mind which the address was, that last thought was happening. So Udana with the mind and the Indriyas. Indriyas means it is not taking the Indriyas, but it is carrying the Indriyas for enjoying the desire. Because suppose the desire is only to see something, the predominancy will be for the eyes. If it is for the tongue, taste and everything, it will be predominantly for the tongue or the taste part of it. Like that, the Udana will carry the individual for the rebirth. Lokam Nayanti means it takes to that world where that desire can be fulfilled. If the desire is to become an animal, it will take to an animal world, and you will become part of the animal world and become born in the animal world. And if it is a bird world, you will be born in the world of the birds, or like that. Or if it is for the Pitru Deva, Kingara, Gandharva, Yaksha. There are many type of world which is given in the Shastra. So depending upon what is the last desire, based on which you will get the loka, from the Bhumi to Brahmaloka, or if you are going downward to Aladala Padala up to the last one. So it will be to this place where the Udana will take the body along with the Jivatma to take and enjoy that last desire based on which. Now this last desire need not be what we think that we should think as our last desire, but it will be always superseded by the tendencies of the mind and the individual, and that will become with the predominant thought at the time of departure. That is how the verse has been described. Now, in the Bhashya, Shankaracharya explains this also to the Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. So, there is gross body and the subtle body and the causal body. So, the causal body is Atma and Prana, and the subtle body is the mind, Udana, and the sense organs and the heat. This is the subtle body. So, Linga Sharira and Karana Sharira is the one which is used for the transmigration or the Punarjanma or rebirth. And it will depend upon the mind in with which the dying moment, whatever is the desire which is being entertained by the body or the Linga Sharira or the subtle body. This is how the 10th mantra is understood. Ya evam vidwan pranam veda na hi asya praja hiyate amruto bhavati tadesha slokaha. Now this is as good as a phalasruti for the one who is meditating upon the prana in the whole way it is being described. So what is mentioned is Ya evam vidwan pranam veda. He who wisely or through his upasana or meditation meditates upon the prana from the time which has been mentioned from the beginning, the first question onwards, that is where the Prajapati's creation of prana and rai, from that level to this udana leaving the body with the desire carrying as prana, the sushma sharira. One who knows the entire process and meditates upon the prana in the all formats of prana in each of its functionality. For such a person, asya praja naha hiyate. Here what it is saying that the lineage, his lineage is never perished in the lives to come because of his meditation and his good upasana. The benefit is passed on to the lineage, and his progeny will be always known. That way remains immortal because they will be known as the children or grandchildren or great grandchildren of such a upasaka. That is the immortality here Tom mentioned about it, not the immortality by knowing what is Atma. So this is what is the shloka, or this is what is to be understood by the upasaka, and that is how it is important. What is the benefit of the upasana? And the 12th last mantra is like this. Utpattim ayati sthanam vibhutvam chaiva panjada adhyatmam chaiva pranasya vijnaya amrutamasnute iti. Pratnya. So here he is talking about the the one who has thus understood the prana. Pranasya utpattim, ayatim, sanam, vibhutvam. All those things. That is pranasya utpatti, origin, from the Prajapati onwards. Ayati, how it becoming the individual. And sthanam, each location, where prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. And vibhutvam also, the all pervasiveness of prana. Not only it is embedded in this body, but it is also has a link to the macrocosm, thereby occupying the whole universe in the fivefold distribution, which is the pranapana, samana, vyana, udana. And one who knows this prana, moreover, as adhyatmam, as an internal expression, not only as the macrocosmic expression of it, also the microcosmic expression of the same prana. Vitnyaya amrutam asnute. One having known, he becomes the source of immortality, whereby his progeny and his children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren also becomes known for that, and they become immortal by his activity of upasana. So repeating it twice, Vitnyaya Amrutamasnude, Vitnyaya Amrutamasnude iti is the ending of the third chapter. So this way, the third chapter is Prana Upasana. Second chapter also we saw a Prana Upasana. The third chapter also we saw a Prana Upasana. Now comes the fourth question. Now the fourth question is on Swapna, Jagrat and Sushupti. And it is asked by Gargyaha, Sauryayani, the grandson of Surya. Adahainam Sauryayani Gargyaha Prapacha. Bhagavan, etasmin purushe kani swapanti, kani asmin jagrati, katara esha devaha, swapnan pasyati, kasya etat sukham bhavati, kasminnu sarve sampratishthita bhavanti iti. So, you can see that here, Gargya, the Sauryayani's grandson, is asking the questions here to the master Pipalada, the experience of the power within the body. So what he wants to know is, Atahyainam Sauryani Gargya Prapracha. The Gargi Prapracha. What is the question? Bhagavan, etasmin purushe kani swapanti. Among the organs, or what among these things which you have now told, the 17 arches, the prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana, all those things you have mentioned. What is that that is going into deep sleep? Or which are the ones which are going to deep sleep? Kani asmin jagrati. Oh, what is that which makes him awake or means alive? In the deep sleep, obviously the person doesn't die. So there is something which is keeping him awake. So what is that? Kani asmin jagrati. Which is the one that is keeping him awake? Katara esha devaha swapnan pasyati. Which deity among these is the one which is experiencing dream? Because there is somebody experiencing waking, somebody experiencing dream, somebody is keeping awake in the deep sleep. So, which is the deva, or which is that which sees the dream? Kasya etat sukham bhavati. There is happiness which is experienced in the deep sleep. To whom does this happiness occur? Or who is the one which is enjoying the happiness, or who owns the happiness? Kasminnu sarve sampratishta bhavanti iti. In all this, whom do all the subtle body parts that are packed up at the time of death? You know, that the time of death, all these things are packed up was the answer in the earlier chapter. Where do they get merged, or to whom do they all merge together? Is the question which now Gargiya is asking. Now, as we see that from the gross level, we are moving closer and closer to the subtler aspects of the jiva. So you can see that question number 4 is what sleeps? And, the answer is given in the 4-2. Who keeps him awake is given in 4-3 first part, and 4-3 second part is what keeps him awake, and is also answered in 4-4, and 4-5 is the one which is who is experiencing dream, and 4-6 is the one which is in happiness in deep sleep. Negatively, he says not the mind in the 4-6. 4-7 he says, indicating it is the Atma or the self. Which 4-8 he details breakdown, that there's a detailed breakup of the mantra. 4-8 is a breakdown of the deep sleeper. And in 4-7 there is an example which is given of the bird, which is in the very famous example. And where does the prana get merged in the Udana saying is explained in the last 3 mantras, 4-9 to 4-11. So from Aparavidya to Paravidya is the movement, transition which is happening in this. From prana, matter, to energy is the movement which is being mentioned in the aspect of it. So to these questions, Tasmai Sahovaja, Pipalada Uvaja, he says, Yatha Gargya Marichah Arkasyantam Gacchataha Sarve etasmin stejo mandale eki bhavanti ta punaha punaruddhaya pracharanti evam havai yasat sarvam pare deve manasi eki bhavanti tena hi esha purushaha na shrunoti na pashyati na jigrati na rasayate na sprushate na avivadate na adatte na anandayate na visrijyate na ayayate Sopiti tyachakshate. So this is how the explanation given by Pipalada from 4-2 as detailed explanation. So I will read each of the sentences. Tasmai Sahovaja. To him, Gargi. Sahovaja. Rishi Pipalada Uvaja said. What did he say in the first part? Yada Gargya Marichyaha Arkasya Astam Gacchataha. O Gargi, just as the rays of the sun that is setting, like the setting sun, the rays of the setting sun, what happens to the setting sun? Sarve etasmin tejo mandale egi bhavanti. All the rays which were shining and bright till then becomes dull, becomes without power, and slowly returns unified and becomes into the orb of the sun. As if the center portion which was bright and shining and killing us is no more bright and shine and killing. You don't feel the rays are coming out, but you can see the ring of the sun from where you may feel the rays are coming. That means as if unified into the orb of the sun. The entire Tejo Mandala has been Eki Bhavanti. Ta Puna Puna Udayat pracharanti. Now there is a lot of similarity between the setting sun and the rising sun in the morning. Both are looking alike. So the Rishi says, then once again, upon rising, they get dispersed in the same way how they unified into the sun. Now they start dispersing from the same orb and becomes the bright and absolutely brilliant by noon. The whole sun becomes brilliant, which we cannot see by this thing. Now, the application of the mind and the senses is now being explained here. Evam havai tat sarvam pare deve manasi egi bhavanti. Now, the outside world he mentioned about the sun, macrocosm. Now he is explaining in the microcosm of in the mind. In the same way, indeed, all these senses return to their higher deity, that is the mind, equivalent to the sun. The senses are like the rays. The senses are the one which goes outward and feels the objects outside. So it is like the rays of the sun. Same way, mind is the sun into which the senses are feeding back the information from the objects. Same way, they become unified in the mind during sleep. Just as after the sunset, the sun is not seen. When the unified into the mind is not seen again for the senses to sense anything outside or feed anything to the sense. The extension of this thing, when the person awakes, the same way from the mind, the sense organ, the prana, goes through the sense organs for the way observing the world outside. So same way, it happened. Tena tarati esha purushaha. Therefore, at the time when he wakes up, he uses the same mind to access everything through the sense organs. But what happens to him when he is in the deep sleep? At the time of deep sleep, tena tarhi esha purushaha. That is the time he becomes the Purusha. He becomes one with the Purusha, Atma. Na shrunodi, he cannot hear. Na pashyati, he cannot see. Na jigrati, he cannot smell. Na rasayate, now he cannot taste. Na sprishate, he cannot touch. This is all sense organs or organs of senses. Now he is going to talk about sense organs of action. Na abhivate, he cannot speak. Na adate, he cannot grasp. Na anandayade, he cannot enjoy. Na visrajade, he cannot eject excreta, etc. Na yate, now he doesn't move. So the sense organs of action becomes inactive. The sense organs of perception becomes inactive. And he becomes one with the Purusha. Sopiti iti achakshate. Then people who looks at him, they say he is sleeping. But he is not actually sleeping. He has become one with the Purusha. Now the same thing is told in the Chandogya Upanishad. Sa supiti, tatra sa eki bhutaha. So he doesn't know that he has become one with the thing. One with the sat. Sati sambadhya na viduhu sati sambadhyamahe is what the Chandogya Upanishad says. Here he uses the word Purusha. So Sat and Purusha is the same. Sat Chit Ananda is the Purusha. And here he is talking that he has become one with the Purusha. But the one who sees him, he tells that he is sleeping. Actually, is he sleeping? No. He has become one with the Purusha because he has withdrawn all his sense organs like the sun withdrawing the rays and disappearing in the horizon, and comes back in the next day morning. From the mind, the sense organs start perceiving, and our organs of action start functioning as they're functioning, or movements, etc. So it is exactly like the macrocosm, the microcosm also. Both the places you can see that similarity is there. So this is how the sleeping man is considered as replica of the world outside. The sun, which is the first creation of the Prajapati, is representing the Purusha, and here the individual is exactly doing the same thing using his mind and the sense organs, and he becomes the Purusha, one with the sun, because sun is also not seen, Purusha is also not seen, and both become the same. And when the sun comes, the Purusha also is coming through the mind again, become the Panchaprana and the sense organs and the organs of action. This is how it is. The first answer is this thing. Now, how does the pranas and upapranas help him to do that is told in the 4.3. From 4.3 onwards, we will take it in the next class. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema Yajatraha Stirai Angai Sushtu Vagum Sastanuvihi Vyashema Devahidam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwadevaha Swasti nastarshyo Arishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspati'r Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.